Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on a journey that, well, many of you dream about and frankly often find incredibly daunting, writing and publishing a book. It's this exhilarating but often kind of paralyzing ambition, right? But we're here today to show you maybe a clearer path and a very special welcome to RWG Publishing. We're really thrilled to have you with us as we unpack what I think is a truly insightful guide. We're taking a deep dive into Pen to Paper, the ultimate guide to writing your book by Bill Vincent. And this isn't just another writing manual, you know. It's framed as more of a revolutionary approach, turning that huge dream into something more like a conquerable climb, equipping you with tools, and maybe more importantly, the mindset to actually reach the summit.
Yeah, Vincent's book is, I think, quite unique because it tackles the whole writing journey from two really crucial angles at the same time. It's not just a how-to, it's more like a why-to and how-to guide combined. So first, it actively tries to cultivate this mindset, the mindset of an author who's really destined to create transformative nonfiction, pushing you to define the actual value your words will add to readers' lives. And then it immediately pairs that vision with a very agile step-by-step methodology, complete with practical tools, templates, actual case studies. So this dual approach, it really ensures you're not just writing, but you're writing with purpose, and you have a proven system behind you. Covers everything from like identifying your target audience all the way to verifying your manuscript's readiness.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, our listener? If you've always felt that nudge, that sort of calling to share something significant, or maybe even if you have, a half-written manuscript just collecting digital dust somewhere, this deep dive is absolutely for you. This guide seems really focused on making that journey to becoming an author accessible and crucially less daunting than you might imagine.
Cool.
Let's jump straight into preparing to write then. Specifically, conquering that infamous blank page.
Yeah.
Been there, right? That initial spark, that surge of conviction, I have something profound to say, and then, poof, it's just you staring at that unforgiving blank screen.
Right.
The book definitely acknowledges this. It frames writing a book as, one of life's great adventures, a monumental personal achievement, but one that almost universally begins with that intimidating empty document.
And, well, the moment you actually commit to writing, that inner critic often springs right to life, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Vincent asks this really provocative question. Did you know 97% of aspiring authors fail to complete their book?
Wow, 97%.
Yeah, it's a staggering statistic, and it's a powerful call to action. He introduces this Write Your Book program. It's embedded right within the guide, and it's specifically designed to counter that failure rate. So it's not just about overcoming the blank page, but actually moving you from mere intention to, genuine completion. And then ultimately to publication.
That 97% statistic is just brutal. It really speaks to how paralyzing that inner critic can be. So how does Vincent's guide equip authors to not just acknowledge that critic, but to actually silence it, at least long enough to finish a manuscript?
Well, that's precisely where Vincent's program, I think, really shines. He argues it's not about ignoring the critic entirely, but rather strategically redirecting that energy. He emphasizes that the solution isn't just finding inspiration in some vague sense. It's about strategically cultivating it, almost like building a mental fortress against that self-doubt. And he starts with this fascinating, maybe counterintuitive piece of advice. For a truly unique voice, deliberate genre hopping in your reading isn't just helpful, it's actually essential.
Genre hopping, so reading outside your own area.
Exactly. Staying only within your intended genre can actually blind you to narrative innovations. He gives examples, like authors who unexpectedly studied abstract art or ancient philosophy and then found entirely new ways to structure a thriller or deepen a character in their own genre.
That's a powerful reframing, because I think many of us just assume read what you want to write. That's the rule. But what about the struggle with ideas themselves? Sometimes it feels like I have way too many, and other times just nothing.
Yeah, Vincent clarifies that too. He notes a common misconception is that people lack ideas. In fact, he argues those who struggle often have an infinite number of ideas. The hardest part is actually deciding on one specific idea to anchor the whole story.
Okay.
He calls it a craft issue, really, and the cure is simple. Just pick one and go for it. Once that decision's made, setting clear writing goals becomes absolutely essential. He emphasizes setting both short-term and long-term goals. The short-term ones are particularly empowering, he says, because they provide immediate, tangible success.
Right, like hitting a word count for the day.
Exactly, like 1,000 words a day or 2 3 hour writing sessions. When you hit that target, that gratification, it reinforces your belief in your abilities,
Yeah.
creates this positive feedback loop that keeps you motivated.
And building on that,
Mm.
creating a consistent writing schedule sounds like the cornerstone of actually finishing your book. Without dedicated time, it just languishes, doesn't it?
It really does.
Vincent suggests this technique he calls writing in spurts, which sounds like more than just typing fast.
It is. It's about intentionally bypassing your inner editor, forcing this continuous, almost breathless flow of words onto the page. He argues this kind of controlled overload prevents that critical self-interruption. It ensures your raw ideas get out there unfiltered, which is crucial before you start the analytical work of editing.
Okay, get it down first, analyze later.
Precisely. But he also stresses, and this is important, that your schedule must be realistic. It has to fit your actual life.
Right, don't burn out.
Exactly. Don't sacrifice everything for the dream. Because consistency, achieved through realistic deadlines, that makes writing a satisfying challenge, whereas inconsistency just leads to guilt and anxiety.
Okay, so now we move into the actual crafting, bringing those ideas to life. This is the exciting part, but let's be honest, often the frustrating part too. Vincent's golden rule here is pretty simple. Just get it all down on paper. He insists, the first draft is almost always bad, but that bad first draft, it's always better than nothing at all.
Couldn't agree more.
He also advises keeping a journal, right? For all those ideas that pop up, they seem to get clearer as you write more. And for those late-night epiphanies, he actually recommends keeping a small recorder by your bed. You never know when genius will strike.
That's a great tip. And even once you're in the flow, Vincent stresses a really crucial point. The journey of learning as a writer, it never ends. He highlights that continuous growth, even for really successful authors, is just non-negotiable. He points to things like online courses, writing groups, conferences, book fairs. But what's particularly insightful, I think, is his emphasis on deep reading, really analyzing other authors' techniques.
So not just reading for pleasure.
Right. It's about dissecting how they do it, how they create character, establish mood, deliver theme, design structure, maintain that consistent tone throughout the work. It's this ongoing process of observation and absorption, constantly expanding your own toolkit.
That deep reading approach absolutely resonates, especially when you think about developing characters. They really are the soul of your story, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Without interesting, relatable characters, even a brilliant plot can feel kind of dull. Vincent talks about creating rounded characters.
Yeah.
People who feel real, with their own likes, dislikes, fears, desires, strengths, weaknesses. And he challenges us to pull even minor characters out of flat status for greater depth. He argues readers will follow an incredible main character, even if not much is going on plot-wise, because it's their humanity that draws us in. What does he mean by flat status for a minor character? And how does he suggest we give them more depth, maybe quickly?
Yeah, so flat status, Vincent explains, basically means the character serves only one purpose. They're like a prop. To give them depth quickly, he suggests giving them just one unexpected trait, or a small internal conflict, or maybe a brief telling backstory detail, something that hints at a life beyond just that immediate scene.
Ah, okay. Just a little something extra.
Exactly. It's about planting a seed of individuality. And this applies even to plot. While plot often conjures these images of complex diagrams, Freytag's pyramid and all that, Vincent distills it down to a strikingly simple but really powerful definition: the cause and effect as it is related to the central idea. He argues that understanding this fundamental engine, how one event logically leads to the next, all in service of your core message, that's far more critical than memorizing elaborate structures. And it applies to any form of communication, really, from a novel to, even a compelling advertisement.
And then there's dialogue. Creating engaging dialogue, which for many people, myself included, is one of the most fun parts of writing.
It can be, yeah.
Vincent has a clear directive here. No general filler, just cut it out. He challenges us to think of each line almost like a Broadway play, or maybe a song lyric. Is it catchy? Does it add to the bigger picture? He even provocatively suggests, if a line can't be reused in advertising, go back and revise it to be buzzworthy.
That's a high bar.
It is. He reminds us that dialogue isn't like real-life conversation. It's there to drive the story forward, reveal character. It needs to be engaging page filler that gets to the heart of the chat quickly.
As we sort of transition into refining your writing polishing, Vincent addresses a really common struggle, limiting your points, especially in nonfiction. He makes this very disciplined argument Try to limit yourself to just 3 main points.
Only 3.
Yeah, especially in nonfiction, like a reference book. He warns that just piling on example after example to support point after point, it actually dilutes your message, overwhelms the reader. This focus on clarity, on conciseness, it's paramount for keeping your audience engaged.
3 points. That sounds incredibly succinct. For someone who has, a wealth of knowledge on a topic, how does it suggest they ruthlessly prioritize? How do they condense their expertise without feeling like they're leaving out crucial info or oversimplifying complex topics?
That's a great question. He offers a really powerful reframe. Think of it this way. Your book isn't an encyclopedia, it's a guided journey. By focusing on 3 core points, you invite readers into a manageable but impactful experience. And for anything beyond those 3, well, he suggests considering maybe a sequel or a related article or even using a different medium entirely. It's about respecting the reader's cognitive load.
Manageability, okay.
He also talks about the immense responsibility of opening lines. That first line of a project or even just a statement on the cover, it carries so much weight.
Definitely feel that pressure.
But he provides a comforting thought, too. Good writing often warms up gradually, so don't despair if that perfect first line doesn't immediately appear. Often your best examples, the ones you find later in the book, they can inspire that perfect opening, and if not, well, you've got 350 pages to look through again.
Oh, that's true.
It just reminds us that writing is a process of discovery, right? Not just instant creation.
Yeah, that single piece of advice about embracing the gradual warm-up and maybe finding your opening later. That's just one example of the really actionable wisdom Vincent packs into this guide. If you're feeling that spark, maybe that itch to finally put pen to paper, you can grab your copy of Pen to Paper, the ultimate guide to writing your book right now. It's really packed with even more practical tips and encouragement. We'll put a direct link in the show notes for you, but you can also find it easily on Amazon. Just search for Pen to Paper Bill Vincent or look for the link at podcastwebsite.com/deep dive.
And when it comes to the editing and revising stage, Vincent really encourages embracing this process, seeing it as a genuine opportunity for improvement, not just a chore. He asks us to truly evaluate, are you actually improving with each edit? The guide offers some specific, almost scientific techniques, which I find fascinating. For instance, he suggests you actually delete the first sentence of a scene.
Just delete it.
Yeah. And see, does the scene lose anything vital? Often, he argues, it's a stronger opening without it. He advocates for streamlining sentences, aiming for a limit of, say, 35 words for your longest ones, and crucially, having about 3 to 10 words between punctuation marks.
Why that specific number?
To allow readers an emotional breath, as he calls it. It creates a more natural reading rhythm, and to grow your word count strategically. He suggests changing maybe 10% of your words to more vivid or exact equivalents, and then adding about 5% to the total word count by infusing sentences with more sensory details, fresh descriptions, surprising contrasts, intriguing questions, or even tiny little stories.
Wow, very specific techniques.
Okay.
And seeking feedback, that can be incredibly daunting, right? Because when you write your book, you get so close to it, objectivity just goes out the window.
Completely.
An outside person, whether it's a professional editor or maybe just a discussion group, they provide that essential uncolored insight. You might get actual criticism, sure, but as the professional presenter Gene Parrott's office sign famously says, there is no failure, only feedback.
Love that quote.
Vincent really encourages approaching feedback with that attitude. Makes it easier to be open to advice and ultimately become a better writer.
And finally, polishing your prose. Vincent acknowledges, yeah, editing is often the hardest part, especially self-editing. No one's tougher on you than yourself, right?
So true.
He insightfully warns against the hazards of over-editing. Writing and editing, they use different parts of the brain. And while merciless self-editing is key at some point, you can get so bogged down in the details that you lose sight of the original writing altogether, the flow, the voice. He wisely points out that most brilliant writers, even the masters of the craft, they need help from copy editors to truly polish their prose for publication. It's about knowing when to step back and let another pair of expert eyes take over.
That's really important to remember. Okay, let's shift gears to publishing your book, getting your voice out to the world. The landscape here has improved so dramatically over the past, 20 years. Self-publishing isn't seen as just vanity press anymore. It's a vibrant new market where budding authors can test their style, find their audience, and truly compete.
Yeah, the stigma is largely gone.
Vincent asks, are you scared of self-publishing? Eadmins, many of us were once. But today, a self-publisher can access the same top-notch creative talent as a commercial publisher. Professional editing services, cover design, ISBN assignment, all paid for by the author, of course, but accessible.
Right, the quality can be just as high.
And you have choices now, too. Will it be an ebook, a PDF, print on demand, or POD, or maybe glossy hard copies? Lots to consider.
And this brings us to a really strategic decision point. The trade-offs between traditional publishing and self-publishing. Vincent clearly outlines that, yes, self-publishing generally means authors make more money per book sold, sometimes significantly more. Clever self-publishers can often earn more than some famous traditionally published authors.
Interesting.
However, traditional publishing offers significant advantages too. Things like the publisher's established reputation, their staff, their extensive distribution networks, things that can make your book much more widely known. Plus, traditional publishers invest cash. They offer advances, sometimes from $10,000 up to $200,000, maybe even $1 million to $50 million for huge bestsellers. And eligibility for prestigious awards often requires traditional publication.
So it's cash investment
versus the self-publisher investing their own time, effort, and cash. It's a strategic decision, really. Needs to align with your personal goals and your resources.
Right. After all that writing, authors are, quite rightly, excited about their masterpiece. But Vincent warns it's easy to bypass critical publishing steps in that excitement. He highlights that some of the best books, unfortunately, can end up just collecting dust because the author's excitement caused them to lose focus on these crucial final steps.
Yeah, the follow-through is key.
The goal is absolutely to complete the manuscript, yes. But truly understanding and navigating the publishing process, that's what brings that work to print and actually into the hands of readers. It's another phase of the journey requiring deliberate action.
And that leads us perfectly into marketing and promotion, getting the word out. Vincent makes a really powerful statement here. Once your book is ready, you become its biggest advocate, period. He argues that as an author today, you realistically have to kind of reinvent yourself. You're a writer, yes, but also a librarian, a professional speaker, and an advertising executive, all rolled into one.
Wow, wearing many hats.
Absolutely. You essentially become an entrepreneur for your own work. And here's a critical piece of advice, often overlooked. Your promotional strategy should ideally start before your manuscript is even finished. You're building anticipation, not just launching a finished product cold.
It's a powerful shift in perspective. Okay, so a core part of that entrepreneurial role is building an author platform. Vincent emphasizes the first element here is just authenticity. It's about communicating who you are in a clear, honest conversation across all your channels.
Be yourself.
Yeah. He suggests things like posting writing updates daily, maybe starting a WordPress blog, sharing relevant articles, and genuinely responding to comments. Your platform doesn't need to be huge, he says, just the most effective way to reach your specific target reader. And he stresses that your authenticity will shine through. That's one of the biggest reasons readers will connect with you and actually stay.
Makes sense.
Your platform, it encompasses your social reach, your writing CV, your blog, followers, mailing lists, even your influence in relevant communities.
Yeah.
And social media marketing. Well, that's truly been a game changer for authors, hasn't it? Allowing that direct connection with fans.
Absolutely transformative.
Vincent provides a fantastic platform-by-platform guide in the book. He suggests thinking about using a newsletter, maybe for behind-the-scenes content or snippets of your writing, or blogging about your characters and inspiration. You could even offer Skype author visits for book clubs, perhaps.
Yeah, creative ideas.
Or vlogging on YouTube about your writing journey, sharing daily snippets on Instagram stories about your work in progress. Lots of options.
And to leverage each platform effectively, Vincent really pushes us to think strategically. For nonfiction, for example, LinkedIn is great for showcasing expertise, engaging in those career-minded discussions. Goodreads is obviously perfect for sharing what you're reading, running an author group maybe. Pinterest is visual, so it's ideal for book aesthetics, research images, mood boards. Twitter, with hashtags like #MWriting, is excellent for quick engagement with the writing community, sharing teasers. Facebook allows for updates, polls, engaging with specific groups. The key, he reminds us, is to know your audience and engage where they actually are most active. Tailor your message to each platform's unique strengths.
Got it. Know your audience, meet them where they are. Okay, so as you near the finish line, the actual launch, Vincent breaks down book launch strategies into 3 pretty easy steps for that final push.
Okay.
First, start with friends and family. They're your first customers, your biggest cheerleaders. Let them know about your launch well in advance. Second, approach affiliates and seek interviews with online influencers, maybe in related industries, to gain exposure to potentially thousands of interested subscribers.
Leverage other people's audiences.
Exactly. And third, for your actual promotion kickoff week, consider offering discounts or bundles to reward those early customers. And send tailored reminder emails to your waitlist to build excitement and drive action. It's all about creating that initial momentum.
Makes sense. A coordinated push. As we draw this deep dive to a close, let's maybe just reflect on the writing journey itself. What's truly insightful here, I think, is Vincent's emphasis on becoming a writer right at the start of the process, not just deciding you're someone who's going to write a book.
An identity shift.
Precisely. It's about understanding your writer type, what are your optimal methods, what's your routine, building that confidence and focus from the inside out. This entire process, he argues, contributes to your growth not only as an author, but as a person, as a masterful creator of value.
It really does sound like a transformative experience, a journey from just intention to actually being a published author. So maybe our final words of encouragement for you, listening right now. Trust the talent and the skills you've worked so hard to develop. Acknowledge your achievement. Know that you are doing what you're destined to do. Vincent suggests considering it an honor that you've been chosen to be a deliverer of creation.
Nice phrase.
Release your writing dreams. Do your best. Try to do better each day. Add that polish and clarity, and really aim for the heart of your reader. Vincent wants writing to be this joyful, satisfying challenge that contributes positively to our planet. So now it's time for action. Commit to doing just a little something for your book regularly. Set a date to complete it, and begin now, regardless of how difficult it might feel in this moment.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Considering the journey we've explored today, if the act of writing can truly transform you, the writer, as much as it can potentially impact your reader, what singular message or story is silently waiting within you right now, ready to be unleashed into the world?
Something to ponder. And that wraps up our deep dive into Pen to Paper, the ultimate guide to writing your book by Bill Vincent. We really hope you feel more equipped, more inspired, and maybe just ready to embark on your own writing adventure. If you are ready to pick up your copy and start putting these methods into practice, you can find Pen to Paper, the ultimate guide to writing your book, easily on Amazon. The link is available in our show notes as always, or just search for it by the title and author Bill Vincent. Thank you so much for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe, just maybe, keep writing.